Hey, Spartan fans, welcome into this latest edition of the Michigan State Spartans Insider Podcast. I'm your beat reporter from Michigan State Spartans on SI, Aidan Champion. Fall camp, we are getting closer and closer to game day, week one, Western Michigan, August 29th, and less than 2 weeks away from that home opener. And I would think that through 2 weeks, or 3 weeks, excuse me, and two scrimmages, this staff should feel pretty comfortable about where it's at with its depth chart. So, with that said, I think it's time to lock in my predictions for the starting offense, starting defense. And I'm going to start today with the offense. Now, the staff hasn't said anything about the depth chart as far as, anything that's certain. Jonathan Smith said that if he had a guess, they've probably decided on around half the starting spots. But yeah, let's get right into it. Offense. Quarterback, obviously, Aiden Childs. Expected to take a big leap this season, coming into his second year as a full time starter, his third season overall, second with Michigan State. I think he's going to be more comfortable. I think the staff has worked with him on what he's needed to work on this offseason. I think he's going to be a much improved quarterback and make his case as one of the best in the Big Ten. Running back, most for most people, the most interesting position battle that's going on in fall camp right now. I think it's going to be Elijah Tolliver. That's nothing new from me. I've been saying that's who I think will be the starting running back. He's got the most experience. He had success at Sacramento State, even though that is a lower level. I just think the experience and his history of success at the position, I think he's got the upper hand in that area. But I do think still that it will be kind of a running back by committee approach. So I think you'll also see Mekhi Frazier, Brandon Tullis in the mix there, getting reps. And I don't think it will be heavily loaded with Elijah Tolliver. As far as how uh, how good Tolliver is, how well he's able to translate to this level, I don't know yet. Um, and I've said I think the success of the run game ultimately is going to rest on the offensive line. I don't think it matters necessarily who you've got back there, unless it's a guy like Kenneth Walker. I think ultimately their success in the run game really boils down to the offensive line because offensive line, um, was a major weakness last year, and they had two great running backs who I think their talent was wasted in their final collegiate season, quite frankly. And then wide receivers. This is a big one. You've essentially got your top two, which Jonathan Smith said are, um, as of last week, as of last Monday, was Nick Marsh and Omari Kelly, and then that wide receiver three spot was up for grabs. I think it will be Krishan McCray from Kent State. You know, he had a lot of success there, two-time all-conference guy. 2 years ago was a first-team all-conference. I just think he's too talented a receiver to not be in that mix as a starter. If it's not him, I think Rodney Bullard. But that's who I think will be the wide receiver three. So you've got Nick Marsh, Omari Kelly, and Krishan McCray. Nothing too surprising there. McCray and Kelly, of course, were on the Blitnikoff Award watch list. So, the nation is already watching those two as two potential great running backs for Michigan State this season. Offensive line going to be very interesting. Jonathan Smith had said last week that they're looking at close to 10 guys competing for those jobs. But I think you're pretty set with Matt Golban at center. Came over from Wake Forest, and then I think Luka Vincic will probably be your right guard. In my opinion, he said he plays. This was earlier in camp, but said he was playing more right side, and then Christian Phillips, I think, will be that left guard. And then, I as far as who's right or left tackle, I don't. It's harder to make that guess, but considering the experience, his familiarity with the offense, I would think Stanton Ramil will be on the left side, and then And then Connor Moore, the transfer from Montana State, was one of the best offensive linemen in the portal. Probably Michigan State's best transfer portal addition. I think he'll be your right tackle to start the year. That's who I see as the starting five up front, and then tight end, obviously, Jack Velling. But I think the offense is a little more clear than the defense as far as starting jobs. But you've got depth at every position. Um, I think you've got a lot of guys that you can rely on if you need to, but everything to me, these seem I feel pretty certain about who this who will be starting on offense. So um again, it's more clear, I think, than the defense. I think there's a little more competition on that side of the ball. I mean, there's competition still, of course, with the offense, but I just think the guys that should be starting have made their case, whether it be at Michigan State or at their former schools. They've got experience, were successful at their former schools, and there was a reason they were brought in to Michigan State. So let me know what you guys think if there's any positions you think I um was wrong about, or if you see it a different way. But would love to know. As always, thank you everyone for tuning in. I hope you're all having a great weekend. Hope you continue to have a great Sunday, and I will talk to you next time. Thanks, everyone.